Hi, this is Cass from Aussie Cass Plays and welcome back to another video, but this time not on The Sims 4. I'm sure most of you will have heard of Inzoi, but for those that haven't, it's an in-development life sim game being made by a South Korean game studio called Crafton. Like The Sims, it lets you play a character, although they call it a Zoi, not a sim. That character could be living their best life, falling in love, starting a family, becoming a K-pop idol, or stealing change at the local amusement park. But the thing is, instead of The Sims' kind of usual cartoonish energy, Inzoi's got sexy high-end graphics, realism, and a modern aesthetic that are like an alpha CC girlie's dream. Now, you guys know I'm mostly a Maxis Match player, other than for some makeup that I use and my beloved Kajiko eyelashes that I love very much. But what you may not know is that the main reason I use Maxis CC is that I can't handle the disconnect you get between a gorgeous alpha CC sim and the Maxis Match world around them. And the idea of making over an entire save and all the sims in it to make everyone and everything alpha CC is just exhausting to me. And I know I already did something similar with my medieval save, but that is not the point. I have to say, the most enticing part of Inzoi from my point of view as someone who likes to tell stories that maybe don't take place in like a traditional modern setting is that you'll be able to adjust the city you're playing in to be varying levels of grunge. Like, they have a slider for that I've seen in some of the demos. So for example, you could play a real post-apocalyptic style story in a graffiti covered world with like flaming trash cans or whatever. And that's the sort of world customization that The Sims honestly is missing, unless you use a mod like Tool, which is I think taking objects off lot or something. It's an acronym. But even then, there are limits to what Tool can do, and I'm astonished with what people can do with that mod. I've never learned how to use it. One day, maybe I'll give it a try. But anyway, I haven't really talked about Inzoi or Paralives, which is the other in-development life simulator at the moment, on my channel much, just because I don't really play in the kind of Sims or life sim commentary space. I do watch those videos just to keep up to date, especially now that Twitter's a total dumpster fire. But I don't feel like I have much else to add, to be honest. And I'm like, as you guys know, I'm more of a storyteller and a challenge player than I am a researcher and a tea spiller. So yeah, but Crafton has released a Character Studio demo that's available until the 26th of August. As I'm recording this, it's the 24th, so if you want to try it, you'll have to get in really quickly. But after seeing some of the early gameplay footage of Inzoi, I had to jump in and try the character creator. I was just so excited about it. I decided I wanted to try recreating one of my sims in the Inzoi character creator, and I picked Honeyberry, who's my current not-so-berry sim, obviously Orange Gen. I did consider trying one of my medieval sims, but I figured that wouldn't work given the clothing assets the creator has available. I grabbed a few cast screenshots of Honey to make sure I got her face proportions right, because I know I'm a little face blind, and I didn't trust myself to do it from memory, and then I jumped in and had a play. Obviously, I'm showing this to you as like a speed build, but for Inzoi character creation, so I don't know what you would call that, but that's because I didn't think me sitting there sort of diving in and exploring menus and sliders and just jiggling things around was particularly enthralling for you guys to watch. Still, I had a ton of fun with this. The best thing about the character creator is definitely the number of sliders, color presets, and options. Like, I thought I didn't mind that The Sims uses preset swatches for most things. I've always said I'd like a color wheel for hair, eyes, and skin color particularly, just so people can kind of represent themselves better. But I have always also said that I could live with the swatches for everything else. And I admit that part of that is honestly because I play with CC, and if the game doesn't have the type of asset I want in the colors I want, like, say, hair colors, you know, pink hair for children is not a thing that's available, I can probably find that as a CC option. Sorry, console players. Still, the Inzoi character creators actually made me change my mind about being happy with preset swatches. For example, you'll see when I get to the clothes and accessories, I was able to choose several different colors for a piece. So, for example, the jeans I picked for Honey are quite dark, but they have orange stitching, and it actually legitimately blew my mind when I saw that. The necklace I picked is also dark but with orange elements to it, which is just so good. And there are two different color pickers for eyes, so you can have like an inner and an outer iris color that are different from one another. You can change how they fade between, whether it's like a hard border on the different colors or whether they blend. The hairs, I think, had 4 different color picker options, at least for the couple that I tried. And you can choose those colors off a color wheel, at least for the assets I tried. I don't know if all the assets are that flexible, but the ones I tried definitely were. And the best bit, honest to God, this is my favorite part of the whole thing. It saved the orange I chose as a swatch. Like, not the sort of preset swatches The Sims uses, but a proper swatch like you'd get in an Adobe product like Photoshop or Illustrator or something. So you can have a specific custom color that you've chosen and save it and apply it across multiple assets. So I applied the same orange I picked for Honey's hair to her eyes. I applied it to lipstick. I applied it to clothing. It was the exact same orange because it was a swatch. And that was revolutionary for me. And it was a huge quality of life bonus that I wouldn't have thought to ask for that. But the fact it existed was just like, this is how it should be, you know? I will say there are a few things about the current build of the character creator that I didn't find very intuitive. The main example for me is the freckles, which were applied by default for various character presets on the female Zois, at least the ones I tried. And I spent a fair bit of time poking around trying to figure out how to remove them. Like, the freckles are adorable, don't get me wrong, but Honey doesn't have freckles, so I was trying to take them away. Eventually I found the freckle color picker randomly stashed away with the makeup, which was a bit confusing. It's like a skin detail, which is how The Sims categorizes it, but that's because that's what it is. I liked how there were options to choose the colors for the freckles, so you could change the skin tone colors for the freckles. But I hope they add an option to just remove them completely, because between the skin tone tweaks and the makeup that I was kind of doing as I was playing, I kept adjusting things. I had to keep adjusting the freckles to make sure that they would disappear against the Zoi's skin tone. Maybe it's just the preset I chose is designed to have freckles and therefore I don't have a choice about freckles. But in the long run, I'm kind of hoping that with the character builder, you can take stuff like that off, like click, a trash can or delete or remove or whatever, and they go away. And then you don't have to worry about matching them. I think that would be a quality of life improvement they could add. I also wouldn't put them in with the makeup because they are not makeup. My only real hesitation about Inzoi right now, and I think it's one that a lot of Simmers probably share, is whether my computer will be able to run it well. It's definitely going to be like a high-end graphics game, and my computer's like 12 months old, but when I bought it, it was a gaming machine that was on the cheaper end of gaming machines. Like, there were ones available at the time that were like 4 or 5 times the price of what I paid. So it's not a top-end gaming machine, and I'm really, really hoping that it can run it when Inzoi comes out, because I am desperate to get my hands on this game, I'm not gonna lie. Even once Inzoi comes out though, I don't ever see myself not playing The Sims. And I will say that's a current opinion. I don't currently see myself not playing The Sims. I've been playing it since Sims 1, and I love the chaos and I love the goofy humor that the franchise can do really well when it tries. I do have issues, obviously, with the lack of consequences in The Sims 4 in particular, and one of the reasons I do challenges so much on the channel is to give it, like, my gameplay a bit of structure and to make it harder, because The Sims 4 is very much easy mode at the moment. I also have my concerns about Project Renee, and this is why I say my current opinion is that I don't think I'll stop playing The Sims, because if Project Renee were to replace The Sims, that opinion might change, because Project Renee is the new Sims development game, whatever it is they're doing, Sims 5 or whatever, because Project Renee is going to be at least partially multiplayer, and I'm really not here for that. I feel like, aside from anything else, if the game assumes multiplayer, there's going to be even less opportunities for like world customization, because it has to be a consistent world for all of the players. There'll be even less opportunities for things like rotational gameplay potentially. Like if you're stuck playing your character in a world in your apartment and that's it, and that's all you can control is your character in your apartment. I love rotational gameplay, and I feel like that would be completely cut off by that kind of a setup. But hopefully that's not what they do when they say multiplayer. Maybe they mean something completely different. Who knows? But as it stands, I can see myself currently playing The Sims, Inzoi, and also Paralives when it comes out. Because Paralives has this like cozy life sim vibe, whereas Inzoi is more hyper-realistic and potentially more gritty, depending on how the game development goes. And The Sims is kind of more fun and comedic. And I think there's space from my point of view, for all three of them in the life sim market and also in my game library and in my play style, just depending what I want to do. But I also think it's huge for simmers, like huge for simmers, that The Sims is finally getting some competition after all these years. So even for rusted on simmers who don't want to play the other two games for whatever reason, and there are lots of reasons why you might be attached to The Sims and not want to play other games. Maybe it's just because The Sims will run on an older machine, whereas Inzoi definitely won't. Paralives might, I don't know. But it's also forcing EA and Maxis to lift their game and fix bugs and look at what makes their game sort of enticing for people to choose when there are options. Currently, they've got a monopoly, and I am totally here for that. Anyway, back to my creation of Honey. I'd rate her at like an 8 out of 10 if I were grading myself. That's because I think she gets a 10 out of 10 for cuteness, although slightly angry cuteness, let's be real, but only a 5 out of 10 for accuracy to the original sim. The Inzoi character creator's flexibility let me get her face structure pretty close, I think, although again, like I said, a little bit face blind, so you may disagree. But I didn't make the Sims, like the Inzoi's, I keep wanting to call her a sim, the Zoi's lips as big as Sims Honey's lips are, but because The Sims has a much more saturated color aesthetic, just because it is quite kind of cartoony in its style, I couldn't get the oranges right in Inzoi. I fiddled with them for ages because she just seems a little bit washed out. It feels like The Sims is RGB and Inzoi is CMYK, which if you understand printing colors and stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. But basically, more color in The Sims. I still love Zoe Honey though, and I would play her in a heartbeat. I gave her the authoritarian personality type because it seemed like the closest to the Sims 4 evil trait, and she's obviously going to be a supervillain when she finishes university. I'd love to see Inzoi Honey living her best supervillain life in Inzoi, and maybe one day that will happen. Let me know how you think I did and what you guys think of Inzoi and Paralives more broadly. Did you try the character creator for yourself? And if you did, let me know what you think. You know, pop a comment. I'd love to hear from you guys. Now, I'm going to wrap this one up. If you've enjoyed, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to wash your hands, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.